Mr. Modi's government.
Your perception. It is the Congress party and the UPA which gave 8.5% growth under UPA 1. And if you take the 10-year period, we still delivered 7.5% growth. Our approach to elimination of poverty is by promoting high growth, garnering resources, and spending them wisely and prudently on poverty alleviation and direct benefit programs. We may have succeeded in some areas, we may have failed in other areas, but that approach is very different from moving from development to simply SOPs, and SOPs.
But why would you say they're moving from development to simply SOPs? But why would you say that they're moving from development to simply SOPs? They're doing pretty much what you did. You did the farm loan waivers, they're doing the farm loan waivers in the state of Uttar Pradesh.
I didn't oppose the farm loan waiver.
Yeah.
Did I oppose it?
No, so when you say that they've shifted from development to SOPs, what do you mean?
They have shifted clearly from development to Hindutva. That's clear. I think only somebody who's totally visually challenged and otherwise challenged will say that they have not moved to Hindutva. What is the news that screams at you every day in newspapers and television? Anti-Romeo squad, illegal cow slaughter, lynching of people who are alleged to be transporting cows, ban this, ban that, haul up young people and ask them why they're going out together to a movie. Are these the issues that concern the economy and the vast majority of people of this country? The issues that concern people are, as I said in a recent column, growth.
Yeah.
And that's a measure of growth is bank credit. And the measure of growth is the growth in investment and jobs. Tell me, just scan the newspapers for 7 days or 10 days.
Yes.
Show me anyone, including the Prime Minister, or any period of 7 or 10 days, who speaks about not this broad Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas slogan, specifically about gross fixed capital formation, specifically about bank credit, specifically about jobs. No one speaks. No one speaks about this. It's all a big portmanteau, you know. Everything is all falls under slogans. I want specifics. I want people to address specifics. I think the one minister, when he speaks on specifics, is the highways and road transport minister. He speaks on whatever he's doing on roads. The other minister occasionally speaks on specifics, is the power and coal minister. But I can't see anyone else speaking of specifics.
But do you believe that there is a shift in narrative, in the economic narrative, and that, the Congress position of this development economics has now been taken over by the BJP?
There's no such thing as taking over. This is our position. If you want to adopt our position, welcome to adopt the position. But clearly to me, the development narrative today has been subordinated to the Hindutva narrative. It is the Hindutva narrative that is occupying the mind space of the BJP, RSS and the BJP governments.
So what is the Congress going to do about that?
Well, Congress will continue to speak, Congress will continue to write, Congress will continue to oppose the government. It's for the people eventually to see through what is the real agenda of this government.
But what is the kind of, you said that maybe we were not fast enough in the states of Goa and Manipur, but in terms of actually attacking the Hindutva agenda, what you see as the Hindutva agenda of this government.
What do you mean what I see? Don't you see it?
No, I'm saying what you see. I'm only asking the questions. What you see as the Hindutva agenda of this government. With the exception of what we've heard in Parliament on a few occasions, we actually haven't seen the Congress.
What else do you want us to do?
We haven't seen the Congress leadership come out and speak about this issue.
Don't drag this discussion away from economy and GST.
You talked about Hindutva, sir.
You asked about it. You said that they have got a great development narrative.
No, I said that
the development narrative is subordinated to the Hindutva narrative.
We are
not discussing political issues. This is not a political interview, you're not a political channel.
Okay.
Let's stick to the requirements of the viewers of a business channel.
Sure.
We have raised our voice in Parliament loud and clear. And I think the people hear what we say. They may not yet be convinced by what we say. They may not yet have switched support from the BJP to us. But the job of the opposition is to remain fearless and to remain absolutely committed to its position on many issues. We are clear that the Hindutva narrative will divide India, will weaken India, and eventually will disrupt economic growth. See, cow slaughter is an issue. Nobody is denying that. But there are laws on cow slaughter. As long as those are the laws, one has to abide by those laws. But within those laws, people have a right. People have a right to carry on their business of selling meat, selling leather, and all other downstream activities. But today, you're scaring people away. Anybody who is transporting a cow is believed to be or deemed to be a man who's slaughtering a cow, and he's lynched. You must have read Pawan Chopra's column where he has given instances beginning with Aklak and ending with Felu Kelan.
Yes.
And in between there were 3 other incidents. So this is the approach of the BJP RSS leadership, and I'm not taking names, and they condone this kind of activity, and this activity is increasing, not decreasing. Apart from the social and political consequences, there are economic consequences. And I think not many people are willing to speak about the economic consequences. I think it scares investors, it scares talent, it scares skills. Young people, talented people will decide, all right, we can find a job elsewhere in the world. Investor will decide, well, we can invest in 186 countries of the world. So I think we must look at the consequences of these misguided actions and misguided statements on the economy. How many people are discussing the economic consequences of this misguided approach?
The economic consequences, whether or not we actually see foreign investors pull back, so far there has been no evidence of that, because the FDI
Why is
flows,
the FCF not growing?
The FDI flows continue to be strong and at record highs.
There are 2 kinds of FDI, you know that. You don't want to admit it, I can't help it. There are 2 kinds of FDIs. One, foreign capital which replaces Indian capital. That's not an additionality. The other is foreign capital that adds to the capital stock. That is the additionality. So every time you look at an FDI figure, please break it up into, is it simply replacing Indian capital or is it adding to the stock of capital?
So let me end then by asking you, since we started by talking about the GST, you know, we've got now, the process is going to shift to the state assemblies. Individual states will either call a special session, will extend their budget session to ensure that the GST legislation goes through. The state of Karnataka, I believe, is going to be taking that call shortly as well. So if the states finish the legislative process, the next meeting of the GST Council is on the 18th and 19th of May, and then we will see the changes as far as rates are concerned, and then they'll have to move with the Tariff Act in Parliament. Do you still believe 1st of July is possible? Whether you think it's advisable or not is a separate story altogether.
Of course, if you rush things through, it's possible. But you will do it without clearing the glitches, without anticipating the problems that are likely to arise. And then after you roll it out, you will face these problems. And then you will spend time solving these problems.
What is the biggest worry that you anticipate in the transition phase?
Oh, plenty. The biggest worry is that there will be thousands of defaulters. Default in filing return, default in filing annexures, other compliance defaults. Some people may not even know that they are obliged to register and pay GST. There will be thousands of defaulters. My biggest fear is that this government will unleash its tax officials on them. The correct approach is forbearance. For the first 6 months to a year, there must be forbearance to small mistakes. Criminal activities, yes. Deliberate fraud, yes. But there must be forbearance. This law must be applied with a benign hand and with forbearance for about 6 months to 1 year. This is the approach we adopted when we switched over from a positive list to a negative list in service tax. I called my officers and said, listen, this is a major change. Many people may not even know that they are service providers. So show forbearance and apply it with a benign hand. The other worry is Section 171, the so-called anti-profiteering clause. It's actually anti-consumer. We won't get into that debate now. It's been analyzed by a number of people to show it's anti-consumer. Now, that gives enormous power to a yet-to-be-decided authority through a yet-to-be-decided procedure
and
to call upon people to slash prices. Now, the object of a taxation law is not price stability. The object of a taxation law is to collect taxes.
It's always a pleasure speaking with you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us on CNBC TV 18 and taking us through what you believe should be the roadmap as we move towards the rollout of the GST. Thanks very much, sir. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this CNBC TV 18 special. From all of us here, goodbye and many thanks for watching.